In this video, we're going to talk about section 6.4, which is solving percent problems using proportions. Now in the 6.3 video, we talked about solving percent problems using equations, and so this video shows us another way of solving percent problems. You are probably going to find that you like one way over another, and that's okay. That's typical in math when we have more than one way to solve things. But I would like you to be familiar with both ways because chances are you will be asked on a test in the future to solve using this method or solve using that method, and then you may be given some problems where you get to choose your own. So make sure you're familiar with both. So when we're working with a percent problem, remember that percent is a ratio of a number to 100. So 15%, that's really 15 over 100. So we can set up our other problems using an equivalent ratio to make a proportion. So we know that 50% or half of 60 is 30. So we can write that proportion of 50%, so 50 over 100, is equal to the same as 30 over 60. Right? Makes sense. And you can just simplify and make sure that they're equal, or we can do what we learned before, and that's take the cross product. So if I multiply this way, I get 30 times 100, which is 3,000. And guess what? If I multiply this way, 50 times 60, of course I get 3,000. So that's how we know that they're equal. Okay, so we can set up percent problems into proportions if we remember this little proportion. Percent divided by 100 equals is over of. And we pull the numbers from the problem that we're working for. And the word what always refers to the variable. And the number or the variable next to the word is goes in this is spot. And the number or variable next to the word of goes in the of spot. Okay, so let's take this one in, for example. 6 is 15% of what? Okay, so we have to fill in the pieces. So 6 is, that means 6 is our is part, so we put that in the is spot. 15%, 15 is the percent, it goes here, 15%, remember we divide that by 100, of what, so of and what, that's our variable, our of is our what, so we put an x there. And now I've set myself up a proportion that you know how to solve. We've done that already in a couple of lessons, and we could figure it out. So for these first couple examples, let's go ahead and set up the proportion, but we're not going to solve them yet, okay? So remember, it's percent over 100 equals is over of, okay? 72 is 45% of what? It's very similar to the one we just looked at. Okay, well percent, that's 45 over 100. That always is over 100, stays the same. And our is 72. And our of is what? So we're going to go ahead and put that as our x. Okay, let's try this one. 17.6 is what percent of 20? So our of is 20. So 17.6 is our is. I'm going to put that here. Of is our 20. And our what, this case our variable, is our what is our percent. So that goes over 100. Okay, just like that. Here, what is 35% of 80? Okay, so our what is our is, our of is our 80, and in this case our percent is 35, and that goes over 100. All right, last one. 62% of what is 44.3? Okay, so we have our 62%, that goes over 100. Of is our what, so that goes down here. And our is 44.3. Don't forget your equals in there because this is a proportion. Okay, so setting up our proportion is not so bad. Now we're going to remind ourselves, how do we solve the proportion? Okay, well, to solve our proportion, we just cross multiply, right? Doing those cross products. So we do the 15 times the x here and the 6 times the 100. Set it up into our equation. Divide by 15 on both sides and we solve. So don't forget to write your answer. 6 is 15% of 40. That's what we get. So let's go ahead and solve these using proportion. Okay, what is 5% of 34? Okay, so 5 is our percent, that goes over 100. What is, that or is our variable in this case, it's an x, and then of is 34. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do my cross products and set them equal. So I have 100 times x equals 5 times 34. Okay, I'm going to simplify. 100x equals, let's see what 5 times 34 is. That's going to give us 170. To solve this, of course, you're right, divide by 100. Good work. And we get x equals, that's right, 1.7. Are we done? Not quite yet. We have to answer our question. So we say 1.7 is 5% of 34. Make sure you write it out. All right, here we go. 51 is what percent of 85? So what is our variable in this case? It's our x. X is the percent, okay? So we're going to put that over 100. What percent? And our is 51, and our of is 85. Just like that, set the proportion. Go ahead, do those cross products just like you've been practicing already. So I have 85 times x, and that equals 51 times 100. So 85x equals 5100. How do I solve it? You got it. We have to divide both sides by 85. Divide by 85. And we get x equals 60. So 51 is 60%. I'm going to go ahead and use a percent sign instead of writing the word, of 85. Okay? Let's try a few more just to make sure we got it. 38% of what is 45.6? So we know 38% of, meaning times, or of, excuse me, is our variable. It goes down here. And is our 45.6. So I have 38 times x and 45.6 times 100. 38x equals 4560. Solve it. And we get x equals, I gotta actually calculate it out here, 120. Gotta write your answer. Very important. 150% of 93 is what? Think about that for a second. 150%. Is that going to be more than 93 or less than 93? Well, 150% of something is definitely more. So our is our what is our variable, and our of is 93. So when I get things set up here, and then I do my cross products, which is how we solve our proportions. So now I have 100x equals 13,950. So now I have to solve. And I get 139.5. Was it more than 93? Sure enough, it was. So I could say 150% of 93 is 139.5. All right, last one. Here we go. 29.25 is 22.5% of what? Okay, fill in the pieces that you know. Percent goes over 100, and our is part goes over on top of our of part. Do your cross products, and then don't forget to simplify. So now I have 22.5x equals 2,925, and then we solve. And we get x equals 130. So 29.25 is 22.5% of 130. All right, that's how we solve our percent problems using proportions. Again, remember, you will have a choice sometimes of using the proportion or the equation. It's totally up to you, but I encourage you to make sure you're familiar with both. Okay, we'll see you in the next video.